Lawrence here from the Australian Trade and Logistics Corporation. This morning I've got the pleasure of having Zoran Kostadinoski from the CBFCA with us. G'day, Zoran. Really proud to have you guys as part of the ATLC community and one of our industry supporters. Tell me about the CBFCA and the role.
Thank you, Lawrence, and welcome to the CBFCA. The CBFCA is a not-for-profit industry association. Our key role is to represent licensed customs brokers, international freight forwarders, and others that are involved in international trade, supply chain logistics. This year we are fortunate to celebrate 115 years of service to the industry, so within that you can see that the CBFCA has a long history and a very proud history of representing its members.
Yeah, well, it's been a critical part of the whole industry sector here for over 115 years. I can't believe it's that long. So it's especially when you think about how young Australia is, that involvement, as you say, is really powerful.
Yes, Australia being an island, you can understand naturally how customs brokers and freight forwarders emerge. So there is always a need for trade. Goods are always coming into the country. So our role is very important in assisting importers and exporters to facilitate trade.
Yeah. So I mean, things are really evolving at a fast pace. I mean, there's some of the things that I've seen your updates come out on a daily basis almost about import advisory notices and things like that. So with the challenges now about border security, free trade agreements, things constantly changing, aren't they?
Yes, there is definitely an increase in regulation, which makes it more complex. We haven't seen removal of red tape, it's the opposite, which makes it challenging for our members. They need to be educated, licensed brokers need to undergo CPD training, freight forwarding sector also has obligation in cargo reporting. So the obligations are pretty high from a regulatory perspective, therefore we've got to provide that training, keep them up to date to minimise non-compliance costs. There are penalties, infringement notices for our sector for error and omission, so it's very important that we are ahead and educate our members to make sure they can stay compliant.
Sure. And what's your feeling around importers and exporters? Do you think that they understand the sector enough? Do you think that, as a previous forwarder myself, I know it's challenging sometimes to get the importer or exporter to understand the process that we needed to go through?
Having worked for an importer in my previous role, I can say there's a lot to be done. Importers and exporters are more focused on their core business is procurement, understanding the product and sales marketing of the product. The logistics, supply chain, border clearance, they leave it to the experts. However, I think it's important they understand what they do and what are some of their restrictions because they also rely on other parties in the supply chain. So there's a lot more work can be done in raising awareness and training of the import-export sector, of the roles of international trade, and that they will get better benefit if they are more aware of it and work with their partners.
Absolutely, and that's why at ATLC we're really keen to collaborate with you on that to roll out that sort of awareness and increase the awareness of even some of your training courses to importers and exporters, and maybe touch on that as well, Zoran, about some of the courses you guys run.
For our members, we to raise the professional standing of our members, for licensed brokers, we do the Diploma of Customs Broking. It is the recognised diploma and training certification to get your licence. We also have a FIATA accredited, internationally accredited diploma, International Freight Forwarding Diploma. That gives people opportunity to uplift in Australia, even though it's not a requirement to have a FIATA diploma here, but is a requirement in Europe. That is another way of people getting education. We also offer some dangerous goods, IATA DG and aviation security courses, which are beneficial to the members. What I see today, people's expectation of receiving a full container is like receiving something you buy on eBay.
Yeah.
So that's just a consumer expectation to move things quickly. While we have systems and people to do it, in an international shipping sense, it takes longer to get that moved through the whole regulatory process from one end to the other. So there is need for people skilling and going forward in the industry.
What do you see as some of the future challenges for the sector?
Future challenges is upskilling. I think the raising awareness and skilling should continue. Companies should not be cutting costs on education.
Yeah.
Your people who run the business, the people will be running the systems. Automation in itself will not solve the problem.
No, yeah.
We have seen some examples of when you think you automate things and reduce staff, then the customer service drops out. So there is always a need for that, and I think that not just our sector, but import exporters and others in the supply chain need to upskill themselves and work together. There's increased regulation, important for importers and exporters to understand of the regulatory compliance issues, and some of the things they need to do to improve the clearance at the border. So we are all in it together. That's the key message. Trade will grow, technology will change, the need for people to be upskilled, I think, will be much greater in the future, regardless of any technology advancement in our sector.
Yeah, as you say, people, you've got all the fancy technology, but people still need to drive that.
100%. And the government, for example, one of the things that at the moment with regulatory burden we see is regulation, lack of investment of people and system. And what we are seeing is our members are finding it difficult to reach government regulatory bodies like the Department of Agriculture or Department of Home Affairs, and they have admitted there is lack of investment in people and system. That results in lack of customer service. So that is very, very important going forward for businesses to invest in their people and the systems and to maximise the benefits.
And things have changed. I mean, even the name of the departments that you just mentioned there as well, back in my day it was Australian Customs Service and AQUIS, and that evolution, so many import managers and export managers and supply chain managers, they haven't kept up to date with the changes of regulation or even the contact points or the forms and the processes. So it's definitely it's an evolving beast, this whole sector, which is exciting. It's a great opportunity, but it also presents those challenges.
Yes, it does. And look, for the future is focus on people, focus on investment in training, investment in systems, and just working together. Understanding what the other partner in the supply chain does, I think, is very, very critical for the future. And as we said earlier, supply chain is end to end. We cannot just chase the lowest price. We got to chase supply chain efficiency. At the end of the day, the consumer, your customer, everyone's customers judge you on your efficiency that you're getting the goods, and we're international trade. So that is the key sort of message that I see going forward, regardless of what changes. That is the key objective at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think we speak to many supply chain managers and procurement managers or customer service managers, and they measure DIFOT, delivered in full on time. And as you say, many of the stakeholders aren't communicating together. And that's, again, one of the things that we as ATLC were hoping to achieve, is to bring those companies together, bring that dialogue and communication, improve that, so that the customer benefits, but all the stakeholders benefit as well. So, it's really powerful.
Very powerful.
Mate, we're really proud to have CBFCA as part of our industry partners, and we're looking forward to collaborating more with you over the next months and so, and in the future. So to tap into your expertise, the group's expertise, it's a real great opportunity, I see, for not just the ATLC members, but the broader community of importers and exporters, to understand about the courses, get closer to their service providers through CBFCA, and really, as you said before, and that message is sort of really pounded in, work together, collaborate, understand each other's roles and help each other in fulfilling those roles in a more efficient way.
Thanks, Lawrence. And look, I welcome importers and exporters. We run a national conference. There is one coming up in Melbourne on the 24th, 26th of October at Crown Promenade. It will feature a lot of regulators, service providers and other. That's the aim of that event. Okay. The event is to bring different subjects, different topics to learn about port infrastructure, regulatory issues. While they are delivered for our members, the import and export community is welcome to attend, because you learn a lot from these speakers, because they talk about those challenges, not just the service providers.
Exporters, it impacts their business 100%.
It definitely does. So we welcome people to participate, even they might think CBFCA may not be relevant for them, but it is actually, the topics are very relevant. So we welcome people to collaborate in that way, not just CBFCA, other groups, to be involved going forward.
Yeah, no, look, I definitely encourage that. Get along, they can contact on the website or have a look at the conference details or register for that. But we're looking forward to keeping this a regular dialogue. Hopefully every couple of months we can have another chat and talk about some of the relevant topics for importers and exporters.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Cheers.